All right, so behind me, I have a board here for tomorrow, which is Alex Ovechkin versus Sidney Crosby, because I did a video on who the greatest of all time is. I had Crosby on the board, I didn't have Ovechkin, which
Oh,
means Ovechkin.
meltdown.
Yes. So, okay, well,
Did everybody tell you how wrong you were?
yes.
Because. Did you have Gretzky?
Of course I had Gretzky. Not a moron.
Okay,
Well,
just.
the internet may differ with me
Do
on that
they
one.
agree with you? Because.
No,
Pretty sure.
no, not really. So we're in the book, and you'll notice Pixel's on her lap. Shadow was trying to pick a fight with her, so I put her on Yvonne's lap, and then she realized, oh yeah, I like it
I
here.
like to sit on Mom's lap.
So once
This is
she,
what she usually does with me in the morning when I'm doing homeschool with the kids, but since I've been so busy sewing masks and surgical caps, I haven't been sitting to where she can sit on me for a few days.
yep. All right, so uh, we start the scene now with Ben finding Donna Meadows leaving the station. Now that means like the police station, their area there, not the actual arcology. He looks in and sees Carissa and Nathan aren't there either. Donna, where is everyone? You mean the other two? Two, Ben. There were only another two, she says, rolling her eyes. I don't know why this place didn't have a trained security team on it. Hindsight's 2020, as they say. I believe in the people I hired. There were other people with more experience, but I knew that what my friends were capable of, and now I've put you in a terrible position. I didn't mean for this to happen, he says with genuine regret. Ben, I don't hold any of this against you. None of us do. You had no way to know just how bad this would get or that what we'd be thrown into it. It just is what it is. We just have a job to do now. His job just got a lot tougher. Meaning what? Ben pauses and takes a deep breath. He's still really upset, and his brain is having a hard time wrapping itself around what's going on here. Andrew Jenkins, the prick my father had as second in command, has decided in his infinite wisdom that this place needs to have a party. That's the worst idea he could possibly have, Donna responds. Ben nods. Wait, it gets better. In honor of my father's death, he's opened level 48 and he plans to have a big party where everyone in this damned arcology is invited. I'm guessing the theme will end up having something to do with killing and maiming your fellow man, no matter what the intention is here. I don't claim to be the best leader, but this is really stupid. Putting everyone in one spot like that leaves the place open for a quick slaughter and right in front of camera crew who will televise to a terrified populace. Come with me, Donna says, and she leads Ben by the arm to the elevator. You need to share this information with some people here. Ben looks down at the floor as the elevator heads to level 35. What people am I sharing this information with exactly? Well, people who will hopefully save everything on the save everyone on the sarcology from certain death. Donna says as they reach level 35 and the doors open up. She brings Ben down a long corridor to a boardroom she enters without knocking. The lights are actually out, but this isn't really her destination anyway. She heads to the back of the boardroom and through a door that's usually locked. She brings Ben into a room he's never seen before. There's flags hanging all around the room. A flag for every major country left on Earth. Many smaller nations have merged, much like in Central America. So there's a lot fewer flags than there might have been centuries ago, but it's an impressive collection nonetheless. There's a circular black table in the middle of the room and a large screen on the back of it, which shows the orbits of all nearby arcologies as well as projected trajectories of ships and shuttles in the area. A battle bridge? Ben asks, clearly stunned that such a place exists on Arcology 1237. I'm surprised you never heard about this place. I'm not surprised you never heard about this place, Woods, John says as he steps forward. You recruited a coffee vendor? Ben asks, recognizing John from his cover job. John Webster, Special Ops, he says, shaking hands with Ben. Not recommended right now. I'm glad to see someone who has management pull in this place. What's going on? Ben points at Donna. Donna brought me here. She wanted me to tell you about... His voice trails off as he looks around the room. You're all the cops in this arcology. If you're here, who's protecting this place? There's been so much violence out there. We're getting organized so we can better protect this place. It's the only way to do this now. Kristen explains, well, I was telling Donna a minute ago, so I guess I'll tell all of you now. Andrew Jenkins has a bad idea. I mean, people get mad at me for throwing pens at the ceiling and tossing around the odd paper airplane during a meeting, but this is a really bad idea. He has the sensitivity of a robot, considering my father and what happened to him. This prick thinks a party is the best idea to make everyone feel better. I've seen this before with arcology leaders. It's about prestige and having the appearance of your arcology being the best one. So inheriting the one that he has must have upset Andrew on some level. How much prestige is gained when you run an arcology already in the news for violence and death? However, this is way above how upset my father was. and it's going in a different and far more dangerous direction. He wants to have a big party, a big get-together to make everyone forget what we're going through here. See, I agree with everyone else. Things are messed up, and a battle bridge is really cool. I wish I'd known about this place, actually. I just think opening up level 48 is the worst idea you could have right now. Craig slams his fist on the table. That's why he wanted level 48 open? For God's sake. When's this big party of the damned supposed to take place? Soon as possible. He wants to have it tonight, Ben answers. There's a hushed silence before Mike slowly gets to his feet. Yeah, we can't allow this get-together to happen. People are still dying. There's reports from all over the violence is escalating. Ben, I want you and Donna to prevent level 48 from being used tonight. Do whatever you have to. Are you another coffee vendor? Ben asks, not being able to place Mike's face. Mike Translow, special ops, and hopefully the man to lead your people out of this crisis, he says, shaking hands with Ben. Still not recommended right now. And handing him a gun. I don't like guns, Ben says, and tries to hand it back. Yeah, I understand, but you're with us and you need to be armed. This thing's going to turn ugly fast if the people responsible for this get wind that we're onto them. That's why I called this meeting in the battle bridge. The walls are soundproof. Only special operations agents know these things exist. When these things were built, Earth always knew there was a chance things could get ugly, and they wanted a place for people like us to meet when these things happened. They hoped we would never need to use them. This is the one room in the arcology that can't be scanned in any way. It's the only place I could meet with your officers here in order to discuss what needs to be done. I've armed them as well as I can without drawing too much attention to our movements. Ben looks down at the gun and slowly nods. I've proven I can handle a paintball gun in the past, so this has to be similar. I'd rather not kill people now. Kill people, though. Yeah, it's a lot like paintball. Mike lies. The safety is this red button here. The weapon charges fast and it will vaporize pretty damn near anyone it touches. It only destroys organic matter. Ben's confused. I never heard of a weapon that does that before. Where did you get this? Just don't shoot anyone you don't have to. You already know too much, Mike says, not wanting to explain anything more than he already has. He's blown his cover enough for one day already. Ben slips the gun into his waistband of his pants and covers it with his section leader jacket. I don't recommend that either. He's never been armed before and is not feeling particular thanks right now. Okay, well, I'll see what Donna and I can do then. Ben and Donna leave together. Donna also having been given one of the powerful weapons Mike was handing out. They start discussing ways to shut level 48 down before the door shuts behind them. Mike turns and faces the rest of his allies. Yeah, this is totally messed up now. You didn't give them the armor, Nathan says. I already told Ben too much by saying I was special operations. I can't tell him everything and risk a meltdown. If he goes back to Earth with news that special operations are here, that's a minor news item. If it's revealed I was an alien and this is part of a possible extermination plan, the news goes big and everyone on the ground figures everyone up here's lost their minds, Mike explains. Which we have, Matt says. You pull out a few gadgets and we believe you're from another planet. We're desperate enough here to believe pretty much anything. I feel utterly helpless, even with a new gun and new armor that should protect us if one of those alien things decides to attack us directly. You assign us an area of the ship to watch for strategic importance, but what about people who are still dying? Mike slowly sits down and looks over at the map of moving arcologies and shuttles. This has to be contained and finished here before it can spread to every other place on this map. If the Altilians responsible have any clue I'm here, and I know what's going on, they'll send word back home and an invasion could be called for. I need to do this right and get proof that I need to take home that they're behind this. Falteris has a massive military that no one is willing to use. My world has stood by and played nice with an evil dictator while millions have been slaughtered. It has kept me awake at night, and now, in this place, I may finally have an opportunity to change things while saving people here. Arcology 443 was a terrible scene that they mean to repeat over and over again, eventually on a planetary level. So we're trying to save Earth, Nikki asks. In the big picture, yes, Mike responds with a nod while running his fingers through his hair. It's not an enviable task, but think of what happens when we win this thing. See, he ran his fingers through his hair because he has hair. All the characters have hair in this book, so I may envy them. I may drink for weeks on end after all this is said and done, Nathan says while he looks over the gun that Mike gave him. It's lighter than the weapons he's used to and feels like a toy, though he knows it isn't. Not sure I want to be driving motivation behind saving this planet, but go on whatever you need to here, Mike says as he gets back up. Now let's head out and hope Ben and Donna stop this party thing from getting off the ground. End scene. So there you go. That's enough, right?
No.
That's good?
No.
All done?
No.
I was reading the reviews on Amazon for this, and they're not great. So, most of them are from like 8 years ago.
I think there's people that have done reviews. I haven't ever made a review of it.
See, that's the problem. Nobody leaves positive reviews. That is something that I learned when I was doing internet support.
I learned that
People
when I
leave
worked
bad
at
reviews.
McDonald's.
That's the way it works. So
And I remember all the people leaving bad reviews, or the little comment cards. And I was like,
apparently with this,
the people that think I'm
the one
awesome.
the one that I didn't like, and it's still up, is for the second part. Somebody saying I didn't understand what was going on, and nothing. And I'm thinking, well, because it's the second part. Did you read the first? Why are you reading the second part? You didn't leave. Or did you read the first part? Be like me going into Empire Strikes Back. Who's this Luke guy? I don't understand what the hell's going on. Did you watch Star Wars? I gotta watch Star Wars. Pff, screw this crap. I'm out of here. Okay. Internet's just full of know-it-alls. Andrew leaves his office and is glad to find the reporters have moved away from his door and towards the scene of Sterling Bishop's death. The vultures must go over every inch of the crime scene, even though there really is nothing to be seen there. Sterling had been a major player in this society, and now things are shifting. There were people who should have been given more respect when this arcology was opened. Andrews never agreed with Charles Woods being the leader, and on some level he believes that naming him the head of this place might have doomed it. Now that he's passed on, maybe this can be turned around. Maybe Andrew can give respect to those who actually deserve it. It's all about the pursuit of fame and being seen as a hero of people. Heroes could make a lot of money. Be foolish to leave Prime Homes on level 53 empty. These were the suites that everyone envied, and a good way to put himself out there as a leader would be to offer level 53 suites that belong to George Woods and Charles Woods and Sterling Bishop to others who deserve the honor ahead of them anyway. If Andrew could keep things as normal as possible, despite the things that had happened up until now, he could be seen as a brave leader worthy of movies being made in his honor. This was all about a coordinated move on his part. He opens level 48 for a major get-together, and then moves big names into recently vacated suites. He can leave out the reason they're vacated on any paperwork he does to make this move permanent. He has to get everyone's mind off of how horribly depressing things have been lately. Part of his job was to be the morale officer, and he took that as seriously as any other role he had as leader of such a large group of people. He was dedicated to making this work, no matter how long this took. It was hard enough to lead a place like this without the drama he was currently dealing with, but he was going to do everything he could to make things better. As he rides the elevator down one level, he actually finds himself humming. Maybe this is the start of things getting better for him. He taps his fingers against the door before it opens and then struts out into the main corridor. He heads down the hallway and knocks on the door. It's not like Trent not to answer. Andrew knows he is to be here since he's always here. He might leave for a bite to eat, but not usually at this time of day. He listens at the door for any sound of movement, and he hears nothing. He pulls the security card from his pocket. He feels silly being paranoid like this and blames the media for his paranoia. There's nothing wrong here. It's all in his mind, he tells himself, as he hesitates to use the card. He looks around, finding it odd the hallway is so quiet at this time of day. Clearly, people are staying home rather than venture out. This is further proof that his party idea is the right one. He is certain of this, and he uses a security card, he figures, just to ease his mind. The door slides open, and he sees Trent lying motionless on the floor. He rushes over to Trent, checks for a pulse. His skin is cold to the touch, and there's no signs of life. Trent's eyes are wide open and filled with terror. He tries CPR on Trent while he pushes a personal alarm he has attached to his belt. He continues chest compressions while awaiting help. Though he knows deep down there is no chance of reviving one of the few men on this arcology he truly respected. Andrew finds himself afraid now. Trent had been a good man, though a bit selfish in some manners, still a good man. He treated people right his whole life and deserved better fate than this. This had been a chance for Andrew to make things right for this man, and now that chance was gone. There had to be a reason why, and he was determined to find it. Alright, so we're all done.
No.
That's it.
No.
14 minutes. That's good.
Long enough. No.
That's good. See, and for people who aren't interested in the book, they got the cat to look at. Pixel.
She's a sweet kitty.
She is. And this is the most screen time I think she's ever had in a video that I've done, so. I've got one nose hair inside my nose that's been itching all day, but only when I make videos. So in between videos, it has not bothered me at all, but every time I make a video, it starts to bother me.
I'm glad I don't have that problem.
It's taunting me. I have parts of my body that taunt me when I make videos. It's like I'll think I'm sneezing and getting ready to sneeze, and then I'll pause the video and then it doesn't happen. I start up again and then it's like it starts cutting and then it doesn't happen. So if you see videos and there are multiple pauses, it's probably what it is. I feel like I'm going to sneeze and it just doesn't happen. I just try to provide more behind the behind the scenes stuff when I do these videos, because it's kind of casual. It's just book reading and everything to take our minds off of God outside. All right. So next scene in the end of chapter 7. That's the only way I can describe it. Is all of that out there, all of the outside, the whole world. All right, Sabal. We're back to the bad guy now. Sabal feels that they're on the verge of a large breakthrough, one that will finally bring this arcology to its knees. He's determined to wipe these people out, which should finally prove to Gora, his boss, that this is something they can do on a more global scale. Once these people have died and they're dropping like flies, Sabal gains prestige among his people. There's that word prestige again. Maybe I should call it Into the Void prestige. The end game here isn't one which everyone would expect. The Earthlings do need to be wiped out, but that is part 2 of the plan once it gets rolling. The tests he has been performing, the ones that are driving people to homicide or suicide and other violent acts along the way, are tests performed against anyone who's human in nature. Altil was a world that believed nothing happens without a reason. When it was discovered that humans existed on Earth, it was alarming. On a closer look, it was discovered they were almost identical in every way to people on Falteris. This was seen as a horrible turn of events for Altilians in general, as it made them a minority. To this date, no other world had been found which had creatures which resembled Altilians. The question of how this would happen by chance was mind-boggling. Despite the ability to move between parallel universes, an ability even Falteris itself did not possess, they had never come across another world filled with beings like them. So that's the first. I just sort of throw that in there, and they can move to parallel universes, and then just like that's every day. Just like that's an everyday fact. And we'll come back to that in the 3rd book. I was thinking ahead, thinking way ahead. Humans on Earth and Falteris even spoke the same languages. It was like a parallel universe split. Spit one or the other into this universe and mocked anyone who tried to figure out a way why this is happening. And this was my way of getting around the fact that in Star Trek, all of the aliens speak the same language.
Yeah.
And also in Star Trek, spaceships come out of warp and they're always face to face.
Yes.
And they're always on the exact same angle.
Yes.
Like the entire universe is two-dimensional. And so when I was writing this, I kept that in mind. Like, okay, it's got to be a 3-dimensional universe. They can't just come in face to face all the time. That's just ridiculous. And there has to be a reason why people speak English on both planets. So I had to get into that right away. All right, Sabal himself had been born into the world only a few years after the discovery of Earth. Only a few years after the discovery of Earth had been made by his people. They had discovered it before Falteris, and internally, there had been many discussions about whether or not to tell them. So they discovered Earth before Falteris did, is the way that I could have worded that better. Upon discovery, the first instinct had been to wipe Earth out. They were technologically backwards, and they did behave like warmongers. Story checks out. They were seen as kids that wouldn't grow up. They refused to put aside petty differences in order to advance as a species, and this made them vulnerable. Plans to destroy them were set aside in favor of studying them, so Altil might better understand how to potentially destroy Falteris. So, see, that's the thing. You do a little bit of testing on the humans here, and then you can wipe out the humans over there. This wasn't something that they would admit outside of a very select circle, but it was the plan that most in the Altilian military agreed with. It was worth every moment in the dark now, knowing what he was doing would lead to the death of humanity, the one existing on 2 planets at once without a sense of how or why. There was no chance this happened by accident. Sabal didn't want to take the risk of allowing the parasites from Earth to unite with their advanced brethren from Falteris. Wiping out both was key in his mind to secure their place in the galaxy as the unquestioned rulers. So, Altil was the superior people. They were going to be the rulers of the universe. That was the plan. Sabal stands on the edge of his makeshift quarters in the service tunnel and sends a broadcast out to Altil, awaiting an answer. He waits patiently as, even with their advanced technology and use of wormholes on every scale to do pretty near everything, this transmission's passing across a long distance, and the leader on the other end may be busy. And when I was writing this, I was thinking of Mort calling Orson. Come in, Orson. Mort calling Orson. I don't know why, but that's what crossed my mind when I was writing it. After 30 seconds of waiting, the projected image of Gora appears before Sabal. He scowls, his face contorting as it had with Cale Rightly not long ago. In their native tongue, Gora speaks. "What are you calling me for?" I wanted to tell you, sire, everything's proceeding as it should, Sabal answers again in a series of clicks that no human can translate. I did, because I'm the writer. Yet you call me. I heard you've grown sloppy, Gora says, his face still contorted. Pardon me? You have a spy among that on that arcology, Sabal. Kale rightly called me to his stench-filled world to let me know that our people are under suspicion for what's happening there. I let him know to call back any spy he has among you, but I have an image to show you, Gora says, and a smaller projection emerges from his own. Sabal looks at the image of a human male and shrugs. And who is this, sire? Mike Translow, a man who has long suspected us of nefarious deeds against our kind, is among you. This man is to be killed on sight. Understood. Gora's face returns to a normal state and he glares at Sabal. You must not reveal yourself to these people. Any video footage of our people attacking humans will be our undoing. Using our weapons is bad enough, and I should throw you off this assignment for that alone. I can do that, you know. Keep that in mind. Sabal bows slightly. Of course, I will use discretion, sire. The spy will be killed, and our plan will proceed according to schedule. The conversation and transmission end there. Sabal looks around as if he wants someone to talk to about this exchange. He rubs his chin and considers the criticism he has received from Gora for a mission which has been largely successful to this point. There are days where he feels like he'd be a better leader for his people, but he dares not say such a thing out loud. He just waits, biding his time. And that's the end of chapter 7. So, that brings the villains together. And again, I may end up with enough time to rewrite it. That sounds like a good idea, right?
No.
So I can spend about
really
7 or 8 hours
you.
a day setting up boards and doing videos.
Really never see you.
And then 7 or 8 hours a day writing.
This is like when I see you, so no, I would really, really not see you during the day.
But, see, because these videos get about 400 views each, so clearly they could pay the bills.
If our bills were
from 1935.
$3.
Yeah.
Month,
so
then
yeah.
Absolutely it could.
Yeah. So anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in for another portion of the novel. We're up to chapter 8 now. We're kind of into setting up the end game. And yeah, once that starts, it rolls pretty quickly. Odds are there's going to be a big shootout that goes on in a battle and all of that wonderful stuff. But yeah, so we're done chapter 7. Again, I apologize for spelling errors and things of that nature that are in there. I'm trying to navigate around them and trying to word things a little better. So for anybody who's following along, you'll notice I'm changing out some of the words and some of the stuff that's in there. And again, if I had the time, and if I was of the mind right now, and if we weren't experiencing this, I could totally, go to a publishing house and spend the money that's necessary. It's not really expensive, but it would be kind of foolhardy to actually go to a publishing house with this right now, because it's a lot of books, and then
we need to buy groceries.
The cost would probably not be fun. So yeah. Anyways, there you go. Into the Void. You're up to the end of this chapter. And yeah, I kind of ditched Tanya and Catherine there. I don't know if anybody notices, but they're just kind of... At some point in the book, I was just like, I don't have anything for these characters now. Not right now. And they were supposed to be kind of major characters, and it just sort of didn't work out that way. That's part of where, because I don't do... I don't do like chapter treatments and planning out all my books ahead of time. I have no idea. I just create characters and then I go, yep, this one I like and this one I don't. So that's just how that works. And it's funny because I may have people that I'm really good friends with that work really well as characters, people that I'm just acquaintances with that make really good characters, and vice versa. Sometimes somebody who's a really good friend doesn't make a great character. My wife, for instance, might make a really kind of bland character. It's possible. I'm not saying you would. I'm just saying it's possible. On the other hand, you might be like, fantastic, sexy alien woman with, tentacle heads. Multiple heads.
Okay. Anyways,
We'll work on it.
Pixel
All right.
has enjoyed story time.
Yes, she has. Because she knows she's not going to have Shadow bugging her. Shadow would not leave her alone. All right, and there's no videos of
She
Shadow
found-
teasing her, because if
She
that
found
gets
the
views.
little catnip pillow. That's what she was playing with. And
Oh,
then he
okay.
came and
And yeah, he
pounced her.
doesn't like. So the
She
the
was
rule
like-
in the house is this: Shadow doesn't like playing with anything, but if she's playing with it, he has to take it away
And
from
he's
her.
like, I would like that.
Yeah, I'll take that because you're playing with it.
Even though they play with completely different toys.
Yeah, he doesn't want her to play with anything because he's a jerk. All right,
True story.
thank you guys so much for watching, for your time. I appreciate it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. This channel's reached.
Wait, she's like, okay, story time's over.
This channel's reached
Alright.
12,200, about 12,200 subscribers.
Story time's over, so I'm gonna go now.
And the hockey channel should be reaching 136,000 tonight. So the channel's numbers are still going, and there he is.
Hey, come on.
As soon as she goes down, there he is. He's right there. He's like, oh, did she get down? Oh, okay. Well, then I'm gonna go ahead and come in there, and I'm gonna bug.
Crazy today.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon, as will she.